we're about to embark on an incredible journey inside the world of Nestlé, where the magic of food processing comes to life. Have you ever wondered how your favorite Nestlé treats are made with such perfection and care? In this exclusive tour, we're revealing the secrets behind Nestlé's state-of-the-art technology and their relentless commitment to quality. From the farm to your table, every step is meticulously crafted to ensure the best for you. Get ready to be amazed by the innovation, precision, and passion that goes into creating some of the most beloved food products in the world. Trust me, what you're about to see will change the way you think about food forever. The journey of every delicious Nestlé product begins long before it reaches your table. It starts in the fields, where the freshest and highest quality ingredients are sourced. Nestlé has built strong relationships with farmers around the world. These partnerships ensure that only the best ingredients make their way into Nestlé's products. From sun-ripened tomatoes to rich, creamy milk, every ingredient is chosen with care and precision. Imagine the sweet aroma of ripe tomatoes being harvested at their peak, or the sight of golden wheat swaying in the breeze. Nestlé's quality inspectors meticulously examine each batch, ensuring they meet the highest standards. But it's not just about quality, it's about sustainability too. Nestlé is committed to supporting sustainable farming practices that benefit the environment and the communities they work with. Nestlé actively supports eco-friendly farming techniques, ensuring that the land remains fertile for future generations. They work hand in hand with farmers, providing training and resources to promote sustainable agriculture. This dedication to quality and sustainability is what sets Nestlé apart. It's not just about creating great products, it's about making a positive impact on the world. So the next time you enjoy a Nestlé product, remember that it all starts here, with the dedication and hard work of countless individuals committed to excellence. From the fields to the factory, each step is a testament to Nestlé's unwavering commitment to quality and sustainability. Nestlé's factories are equipped with state-of-the-art automated production lines. These marvels of modern engineering ensure that every product is made to perfection, maintaining the highest standards of quality and efficiency. Look at these robots in action. They work tirelessly, performing tasks with incredible accuracy. From mixing ingredients to packaging finished products, these robotic assistants help Nestlé deliver consistent quality every time. Packaging is another area where Nestlé shines. Using advanced technology, the packaging process is not only efficient, but also incredibly precise. Every package is sealed perfectly to keep the contents fresh and delicious until they reach your hands. The people behind the scenes are just as important as the machines. Nestlé's dedicated team of engineers and workers ensure that everything runs smoothly. Their passion and expertise bring joy to every bite of Nestlé products. Can you feel the excitement? Each step in this high-tech process is designed to bring out the best in every ingredient, creating products that are not only tasty, but also safe and nutritious. And there you have it. From fresh ingredients to finished products, Nestlé's advanced food processing techniques make sure that every item is crafted with love and care. It's a perfect blend of technology and tradition, creating moments of joy for millions around the world. Let's step into the world of quality and safety at Nestlé. This is where every product gets a seal of approval from some of the most dedicated professionals in the industry. Nestlé's commitment to quality starts in the lab. Here, our brilliant technicians use the latest technology to test every batch of ingredients and finished products. It's like a science lab where fun meets precision. From checking for contaminants to ensuring nutritional values, each test is conducted with the utmost care. It's all about making sure that every bite you take is safe and delicious. Once the products pass all the tests, they're ready to be packed and sent out. Every package that leaves the factory is a testament to Nestlé's unwavering commitment to quality and safety. The next time you enjoy a Nestlé treat, remember the love, care, and precision that went into making it just for you. Let's move on to see how Nestlé is also making a difference in sustainability and environmental responsibility. Nestlé's commitment to the environment is visible everywhere you look. Solar panels on factory roofs harness the power of the sun, while wind turbines provide clean, renewable energy. It's a beautiful blend of nature and technology working together, but it doesn't stop there. Nestlé is a pioneer in sustainable packaging. From recyclable materials to innovative designs, every effort is made to reduce waste and protect our planet. Employees play a crucial role in these initiatives. From sorting recyclables to participating in eco-friendly projects, everyone is involved in making a positive impact. It's all about teamwork and a shared vision for a greener future. Nestlé's commitment to sustainability also includes supporting local communities. Through various projects, they help improve the quality of life for people around the world. From building schools to providing clean water, Nestlé is making a difference one step at a time. Seeing the smiles on the faces of those they help is truly rewarding. It's these moments of joy that make all the hard work worthwhile. As we wrap up our tour, it's clear that Nestlé's dedication to sustainability and environmental responsibility is unwavering. They are constantly innovating and finding new ways to protect our planet while delivering the high-quality products we love. From renewable energy and sustainable farming to eco-friendly packaging and community support, Nestlé is leading the way toward a greener, happier future. And that's something we can all smile about. Thank you for joining us on this insightful tour of Nestlé's food processing facilities. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the advanced technologies and rigorous quality control measures that go into producing your favorite Nestlé products. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with your friends. Stay tuned for more exciting content and behind-the-scenes tours. Until next time, enjoy your Nestlé treats and take care.